And summer break's just a few days away.
We should do something. Strictly family time.
Come on, kids. It can be an adventure.
Get out of here. Let's go right now.
I understand protecting your sister, but there are other ways to handle things. I left my phone.
Hutch, no!
I like your way better.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Odenkirk, or Hutch as we know him, is back for Nobody 2. Now, Nobody 2, actually, I saw a special screening of it, actually, this past week. When I went last week, actually, it was the producer of the movie who's actually from Marietta, so we had to go all the way out to Marietta, which, if you don't live in Atlanta, is pretty far away. And so we went and saw it, and he actually spoke with us about, how a lot of people didn't believe that Bob would be able to do a role like this, how it took them so long to bring this movie out. So it's just good to see that this movie finally came to fruition for them, and it was such a mad success for the first one. Now on to the second. It pretty much takes place a couple years after the events of Nobody. Now, he is indebted to the organization because if you guys can remember from Nobody 1, he actually burnt up the $30 million from the Russians. So now he is slowly repaying his debt from his last employers. And it's kind of taken away from his family because he's pretty much doing missions, going around killing people. And he's starting to lose his wife, and his kind of family starting to kind of fade apart. And so he sees an opportunity to go for a family vacation. They go for a family outing to one of his longtime destination place where he loved, where he grew up with his brother, and they had like the best vacation ever. It's a theme park in like the middle of nowhere. He takes his family, all well and fine, until of course mix the good with the bad, and Hutch just cannot suppress his demons when a certain bodyguard bullies his daughter and slaps her upside the head, and he went all hell. And essentially the crooked sheriff sees him, and that sheriff in turn to be a corrupt sheriff, which he actually is working for the bigger boss, Lendina, played by Sharon Stone, who now is the villain trying to kill Hutch and the rest of his body. Excuse me. Now she is trying to kill Hutch and the rest of his family for interfering in her affairs in this said town where they want to have their vacation. Now, all in all, this was a solid movie. I don't think it was better than Nobody 1. I think Nobody 1, it was just like, it was one of those things where it was just such a unique kind of perspective, because this Bob Odenkirk was kind of like, Better Call Saul, and he never, brought you that, like, he could be like a action hero, you know what I'm saying? But he brought it to us, and so it was like, to me, the lure is kind of up for it because we've seen what he could do, and it was good. Like, I'm not knocking saying this movie was bad. It's just like, to me, the lure kind of has taken away because we know he can kick ass and take names. Now, in this one, they did big up the action. Like, the action is a lot more. The fight scenes, the choreography, the shootouts, they're all better. And now a couple things I didn't like about it is, of course, everyone from the original pretty much reprises their role. Christopher Lloyd as his father, RZA as his brother, and then his wife. Actually, that was kind of like the other weird thing about it. It was like, she kind of stood out, saying a couple things where, in the first movie she was kind of like the submissive wife, like, oh, like run and hide. And this one she kind of was like, had like kind of like a dark side, but they really didn't go into in depth with it. It's like, and also they really still didn't touch, how Hutch adopted his brother, which I still would have learned, would love. So this goes, so like there could be a Nobody 3 or a prequel. So, but all in all, like, solid movie, one as good as the first one. And to me, the surprising part was, I didn't even realize Sharon Stone was in here. Like, after the movie was over, everybody was talking. I was like, yeah, Sharon Stone. I said, where's Sharon Stone at? I was like, oh, she was the villain. She looks so old now. Like, I couldn't even recognize that was Sharon Stone. I was like, oh my god. But I mean, I didn't like. I really didn't too much care for Sharon Stone's villain in this particular movie because she was so extra cheesy, and that's the thing that they were going for. Like, they were going for the cheesy villain, you know what I'm saying, with the over exaggerated trying to kill people and all that. So she did execute her role well. It's just that I personally didn't too much care for her role. It was a little too over the top for me. But all in all, like I said, solid movie. I'd probably give it like, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, wasn't the best movie, wasn't the worst movie. But I'm excited. Hopefully this can, they can do more with this franchise. I would love to see a prequel of this movie to see how Hutch became Hutch and how, like I said, how he met his wife, and things of that nature, and also like what happens from now on with with his family as well. So, like I said, drop those comments. The movie does come out this Friday, so guys, let me know what you guys think when you do go see this movie.